All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is day 10. It is Math 133, and we are going to talk about the Chapter 4, Project 2, and we're going to start working on the sample midterm, and we're also going to talk about the midterm. Um, so let's see. So first of all, the Chapter 4, Project 2, uh, you guys went and filled out the survey, and you measured how long your forearm was, you measured how tall you were. We're going to use those numbers. We'll do some linear regression on it. We'll look at that in a little bit. Um, if you did not fill out the survey yet, so we're going to be using this data right now. So I've already graded who did the survey. So I graded that this morning. So you should be able to go and look in Canvas, and if you filled it out, you got 10 points. If you did not, you need to let me know when you fill it out. Otherwise, I'm not going to go back in and look for it because we're using that data today. So if you go back in and fill it out right now, it's not gonna show up in the data set because we're doing the project today. Um, okay, so the sample midterm is going to start on page 424. Uh, but it's 14 pages. We're not doing all 14 pages today. You can see that we're starting the sample midterm today. We'll talk more about it on Tuesday. We'll probably even do some Thursday next week. And then Tuesday the 24th. Any that we don't get to, Cindy and Elaine will cover in their classes. So we're going to cover all of the pages. It's just a matter of when. Okay. So uh it is due on the 26th. So it's due the day of the midterm. Okay. But if we, wait until Tuesday the 24th, and then try to get all 14 pages done by the 26th in 2 days, you're going to have some issues. Yeah. So we're going to go over a little bit of it today, probably one, maybe 2 pages. Yeah, we'll shoot for two. Okay. So there's that. So when you're actually submitting it, um, and you're like, wait, which one is it? It's on the 24th is where you'll find where to submit it. Okay. Um, okay, so that's the sample midterm. And the sample midterm is a worksheet. Okay. So it's different from the actual midterm. The actual midterm is the test that you're going to be taking on the 26th. So let's talk about the midterm. Okay, so I'm going to be sending out some information about the midterm. Um, I haven't sent it out yet, but let's talk a little bit about the midterm. So there's two ways to take the midterm. The first is you can take the midterm at the testing center on Jackson's campus, Jackson College campus. Okay. If you do it at the testing center, then you can take it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of that week. So you can take it Tuesday the 24th, 25th, 26th, or Friday, February 27th. Now, if you take it Friday, the 27th, the testing center's hours are shortened because on every Friday. So normally they're open from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you take it on Friday the 27th, they're only open from 10 to 2, and you'll want to probably make sure that you get an appointment so that you don't show up and they don't have a spot for you because that's your last chance to take it. Okay. Um, Okay, so if you take it at the testing center, you have as much time as you want. So when you come to the testing center, as long as they're open, so if you show up at 1 o'clock on Wednesday the 25th, you have until 6 o'clock when they close. So that's 5 hours, plenty of time, more than enough time. You don't need that much time. Okay, but if you need extra time, I strongly recommend taking it at the testing center. Okay. You do not need an appointment unless you're doing it on Friday. Yeah, and technically you don't need an appointment on Friday. It's just I would strongly recommend it. But you don't need an appointment. You just walk in, say I'm here to take, the Math 133 exam. Um, and yeah, so they'll have computers there. You are allowed to bring your computer. Even if you bring your computer, I still recommend you have your Pearson username and password written down somewhere, uh, because, I don't want to have something happen where like you drop your computer and oh no, now I can't log into StatCrunch and you need StatCrunch for midterm. Okay. Um, okay, so the midterm is gonna make up 30% of your grade. So it's a big deal. Okay. Now that's not to stress anybody out. Like if you've been following along and you've been turning in your worksheets and you're, uh coming to the Zoom classes, you're in a good spot. Okay. Um, if you have missed some assignments and you're like, I'm not really clear on this linear regression stuff, um, so definitely catch up. Try your best to make sure you have everything turned in before the midterm, because doing the worksheets is one of the best ways to study. Okay. The sample midterm is going to help. If you have questions, reach out to Cindy and Elaine. You can reach out to me as well. But anyway, uh, the yeah, the midterm is 30% of your grade. Um, and the final exam is another 30%. So, can you pass the class if you bomb the midterm? Yes, you can. If you get a 0 on the midterm, technically, the best score you can get in the class is a 70% if you get everything else perfect, which is passing. Okay. But if you get one question wrong, you're going to fall below that 70%. So, um, can you pass the class if you get a 50% on the midterm? Yes, you can. Okay. So, um, I want you to do better than 50%. But, I realize saying like, oh, it's 30%, it's a big deal. I realize that stresses some people out. It's okay. You're good. Okay. So, uh, yeah. Um, if you take the exam and you're not happy with your score and you're like, okay, I'm really worried that I'm not going to pass this class. What are my options for dropping the class? Feel free to talk to me or Elaine or your uh, what's it called? Not the academic advisor, but uh, anyway, because dropping the class is a better option in most cases than just failing the class and then, it's on your GPA and it's low, right? I withdrew from a class in my freshman year. I had a whole bunch of class. I took like 18 credits and it was too much. And I had one class that I was like, this class is dumb. It's too much work and I'm gonna fail it. And so it's not on my GPA. So it shows up on your transcript as a W, and some people say W stands for wisdom. Anyway, well, so how do we pass the midterm? So, uh, what can you have with you? So you are allowed to have your exam note packet, which starts on page 253. It should be yellow. Mine is not yellow, but you're allowed to have this whole packet with you. You are also allowed to have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, front and back, with whatever you want written on it. And that's it. Okay. So when you go to the testing center, they'll have you lock up your phone. And I've already told them like what websites you're allowed to be on. So you're allowed to be on StatCrunch and Decimals.com. You're allowed to be on Canvas, of course. Um, because when you get done with the exam, uh, you'll, well, okay, so at the testing center, they will give you a physical copy, a paper copy, and you'll write your answers on it. Okay. Um, so I guess you don't need to be on Canvas. So, uh, okay. Um, anyway, so scratch that. You don't need to be on Canvas. Um, okay. Uh, I said there's two ways you can take the midterm. The other way is you can take it with me on Zoom. So, um, oh, do they give you scratch paper or do you bring your own? I'm not sure. You're welcome to bring blank paper. That's fine. So the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with whatever you want written on it, I don't want you to have to use that for scratch paper. So feel free to bring some scratch paper. And if they say, oh, well, you can't have that because we've got scratch paper here, then they'll just have you lock it up or whatever. Um, so I'm not sure, Rachel, if you can bring scratch paper. Just bring it. So okay, so the other way you can take the exam is to take it with me on Zoom. Now, I will be doing the midterm and proctoring it on Thursday, February 26th, and we'll start a little earlier and go a little later just so you have enough time. So we will start at 9 a.m. and we will go until noon. So you have 3 hours to take it, okay? Now, as I said, like if you are worried about getting your test done on time, you've had issues in the past where you ran out of time on a test. Um, I'm not going to be able to give you more time. If you're worried about, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get everything done in 3 hours, you want to take it at the testing center. Okay. Um, most students don't have an issue. Most students have it done in 2 hours. But I have had some students where I'm like, sorry, I need to end the time. Yeah. Uh, test is over. So, um, if you want to take it with me in the morning, it's 9 to noon. If you want to take it with me in the evening, we'll start at 6 p.m., same Zoom link, and we'll go until 9 p.m., 6 until 9. Okay, so 3 hours there as well. When you are taking it with me on Zoom, I need to be able to see your screen so I can see that you're not Googling things, you're not on sites, getting answers from, AI or whatever. I need to be able to see your screen and I need to be able to see your workspace so I can see that you're not looking at your phone and I can see that, you just have your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and your exam note packet and some scratch paper, blank scratch paper. Okay. So you can, so like, for example, I'm going to stop my screen share here so you can see my camera, right? So uh, if I have my camera like this would be fine. Okay. So I can see the screen and I can see the workspace. Okay. Um, Now, if you have issues, because right now I'm like holding my camera up uh, on my hand, like uh, I don't want to, I don't want to I'm going to be able to hold it up during the entire test. So if that's not an option, some people they will join on their phone and they'll have their phone sitting where it can see the workspace or the screen, and then they'll also join on their computer. So that's fine. Okay. If you join two times, so I can see both of them. Um, Uh, so Taya, will you still be able to be muted? Yes, you can still stay muted. You're not going to be talking during the test. If you do have something that you have a question, you need to reach out to me. You can do it through chat or through Remind, so that way you're not disturbing everybody else. Um, okay, so I need to be able to see your workspace and your screen. So when you've got your camera set up so that I can see your workspace and screen, I will email you the link to the exam, and then you can print it out. If you don't have a printer or you can't print it out, you can just have it up on your screen and you can write your answers on a blank piece of paper. Okay. Once you're done with the midterm, if you're doing it with me on Zoom, you'll come in here to day 14. You come down here to the midterm exam and you'll submit it just like you submit a worksheet using your scanner on your phone. Um, I don't have a link right here because I'm not in the student view, but if I go to the student view, there you go. So you can upload just like you do for any of the worksheets, okay? It says here that it's due within 5 minutes of proctoring the exam. So I'm going to end the exam at 9 o'clock. You need to have it submitted by 9:05. So if you're like, oh my God, that's not enough time, uh, my phone is slow, like it takes me forever to upload things, then maybe end a little early. So if it's not turned in by 9:05, so in the past, I had someone who like eh, didn't turn it in for a while. I I'm gonna be off of. We're gonna end it at sorry, this says 9 p.m. That's not right, but um, uh, at noon, I will stop the exam, or if you do it in the evening, 9 p.m. Um, if you turn it in after that, I have no way of telling if you're keep working on it or if you start Googling answers or anything. So after 5 minutes, start taking 1 point off for each minute that it is late. Okay. I had someone once who, you know, I ended the exam at 9 p.m. and they turned it in at 11 p.m. And I'm like, that's not okay. So um, all right. So make sure you've got work off. You've got someone watching the kids. You've got no distractions if you're taking it with me on Zoom. Again, we all have distractions, I understand, but if you're worried about that, take it at the testing center. Okay. So uh, if there is an emergency, I understand. You need to let me know as soon as possible. We need to document that emergency. So I need like a doctor's note or something. But things happen. We get that. But yeah. Okay. I'll be sending out an email with all of this information and we'll talk more about this information. So don't feel like, oh my God, that's too much. I didn't get all that. We'll talk more, okay? Um, for now, uh, let's jump into our project for the day, Chapter 4, Project 2. All right, so if you click on the Chapter 4, Project 2 in Canvas, there's a link right here that'll open up the Google document where we are going to fill in all of our answers. And there's also a second link in Canvas that says the spring 2026 forearm length and height data is available at this link. So if you click on that, it'll open up this in StatCrunch. Make sure
Do you
you
want to share your
sign.
screen?
Oh yeah, of course I want to share. I'm so used to like it already being shared and yeah, okay. So let's start that over. In Canvas, if you click on Chapter 4, Project 2, there's two links. One of them, there you go. So Day 10, Chapter 4, Project 2. Uh, if you click on this link, open the Google document, that'll open up, not that, it'll open up this where we'll fill in our answers. So we need to do File, make a copy, and this is spring 2026. Save it somewhere. Put it in here in this folder. There we go. Okay. Also back over here in Canvas, there's a second link. Spring 2026 forearm length and height data is at this link. And this will bring you to StatCrunch. Make sure you sign in or register, but this is the data that we're going to be using, okay? I'll drop the link for both of these in the chat. Here's this one. That's for the Google document, and this one is for our height data. Now everyone's going to know how long your forearm is. Oh no. All right, make sure you sign in and register. I'll come back to that. And okay, so there we go. So your name. You answer the questions in the boxes. After completion, submit either you are. Okay, so this data uses forearm length and height data collected from your class to determine a linear model. Your instructor has made the data set available to you in StatCrunch. Okay, so create a scatter diagram of the paired data using arm length as the explanatory variable. Okay, so we are going to do graph scatter plot. Okay, so go over here, we'll do graph scatter plot. Now, a scatter plot is an x-axis and a y-axis, right? We have our explanatory variable and our response variable. The X is, I just copied the question. What is the length of your inner forearm? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so this one, forearm. The Y is the height. What is your height in your centimeter? Click on that. And we'll scroll down here to compute. And here's our scatter diagram. Okay. Okay. Paste the scatter diagram here, resize to fit on the page. Okay. So, looking at this, we got dots all over the place, right? So, uh, anytime you're dealing with real world data, there's going to be outliers. Okay. It looks like we've got one outlier way up here. Looks like someone has a forearm length of 21 centimeters and their height is 257 centimeters. So, how big is that, by the way? Let's see. Calculator. Curious. So 257 divided by 2.54 divided by 12. No, this person is 8 feet tall. Do I think this person's actually 8 feet tall? No, I don't. Um, I mean, maybe they are, but anytime that we have real world data, you have to figure out how to deal with these outliers. If you entered this, this data point here, that's an outlier. Don't worry about it. I mean, like I said, I gave everyone credit if you filled out the survey. Um, so if you put that in there, like you still got 10 points. Okay, so don't feel embarrassed or anything. This happens anytime. It happens every time we run the survey, and it happens in the real world. It happens at every company I've worked with. People enter things incorrectly, or we have outliers, or there's something going on, right? And so handling that outlier is appropriately is an important part of your job as a statistician. Okay. So looks like this one is so 257. Looks like it's Kelly. Okay. So not to call you out or anything, but um, so when you have an outlier like this, you have to figure out how to handle it correctly. So, one possibility is she just mistyped it and she's not 257 centimeters tall. She's actually 157. You can see that that's a much more reasonable height. Like, Raya's 154, so 157 makes sense. Um, or maybe it is a legitimate point and maybe she is actually 8 feet tall. Okay, that is still below the record of how tall the tallest human ever lived was. So it's possible that she's that high, that tall, and so we need to verify that. Okay. Um, Another option is maybe we don't know what the right number is, and so this data point is bad, and it's going to throw off our numbers. Okay, if I run the linear regression on this, if I do stat regression simple linear, let's take a look at what we would get when we run this. We end up getting a terrible correlation coefficient. We get negative 0.06, which is no linear relationship. Okay. It's very close to zero, and it's actually negative. So looking at my graph right here, my slope is going down. Um, that's telling me that as your forearm gets bigger, your height gets smaller, or as your height gets bigger, your forearms get smaller. Like that's really weird, right? We don't have short people walking around with giant arms and tall people walking around with T-Rex arms, right? So uh, this this outlier, we've talked about it before, linear regression is not resistant to outliers, okay? So we need to handle this either, we need to verify that it's correct, or we need to throw it out, or we need to say, okay, well, it's not a linear regression. We should be using some other type like logarithmic or polynomial or some kind of thing, okay? Anyway, what I'm going to do in this case is I'll just change it to 157. Okay. So you'll want to do that in yours as well. Okay. I don't think if I change it, I don't think it saves it for everyone else. Okay. Um, so there's other weird things in the data that you might need to address. When I'm a data analyst and I'm doing my job like at, my desk over there, um, I don't just like create the chart, create the report, send the email. I spend a lot of time cleaning the data, even though I'm not the one that collected the data. Um, you have to handle these outliers and the weird things in the data so that it doesn't throw off your results. So what am I getting at? There's other weird things in the data, like you can see that when we're looking at forearm lengths here, some people were measuring to the nearest centimeter. So this one's 23, 27, 25. But then there's other people that put in decimals like 23.5. Okay, I guess that makes sense. 24.75. But then there's some weird ones like this one, 21.59. So do I really think that? And then here's another 21.59. So probably what happened is they measured to the nearest inch and then they used the calculator and it just gave them a decimal in centimeters, right? So they're not necessarily measuring the same way. This one right here, 24.13. Do I really think that this person measured down to the millimeter? No, I don't. I think that something weird happened, and so we're not necessarily measuring the same way, and so that might need to be addressed. Okay. Other weird things is we have two Brittany's. Brittany Henry entered her data twice here, which again, I'm not necessarily like, don't worry if don't be embarrassed. Like, I'm not trying to call anyone out or anything. You're not the only one. So it looks like Chanel entered her data twice, and actually she changed height between the first and second one. So there's always weird things in the data. And you guys got full credit for turning in the um, for doing the survey. So don't, like I said, I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. I'm just pointing out that anytime you're looking at real world data, it's not as clean as the data that we've been using in the class, and you need to address those things. So I might consider like deleting one of these rows. So I could like delete this row for Brittany because she doesn't need to be listed twice. Um, Chanel's listed twice. Maybe I'll delete one of hers, except I'm not sure which one's accurate. So maybe I'll leave both of those in. Okay. Anyway, let's I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna regraph it. So graph scatter plot. And we'll do inner and there we go. And let's take a look at what it looks like if I get rid of that outlier there. Um Yeah, thank you, Chanel. But you're 5'1.5". I'm not sure which what that is in centimeters. So I mean, both of these are close to that. So it's fine. I'll just leave those. That's fine if they're there. Um, okay, so here's my scatter plot now. And you can see that my dots are, it looks like they're all over the place, but that's just an issue of scaling because I'm not starting my x axis at 0. Okay. If we were to zoom this out to, let's see, I can probably do that in sheets. Yeah, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. All right. So let's get a picture of this though. And by the way, if you didn't remove that outlier, or you didn't remove the duplicate row for Brittany, or if you did remove one of the duplicate rows for Chanel, so your data is not going to match up with mine. But that's okay. We've said before in these projects, you're working with your own data. And so if your scatter plot looks different from mine, or your results look different from mine, that's okay. All right, but I'm gonna copy this over into my project right here. Paste that there. So there's my scatter plot. Right. Judging just from the scatter plot, what type of linear relationship appears to exist? Strong positive, strong negative, moderate, weak positive, weak negative, no relationship. What do you think? Well, so it looks like my dots are not lined up in a straight line. So it's I don't think it's strong. Uh, I do think that there is a linear relationship here. If I have to draw a line through the middle, I think it's like right here. There's no dots up here. I do have one dot down here, which might also be an outlier, might also be one that I would want to double check. But I think it's either moderate or weak. What do you guys think? What's your guess? Moderate, positive? I think it's probably weak, but I'll go with you guys' suggestion. We'll go with moderate. I mean, it makes sense, right? Taller people have longer arms, so shorter people have shorter arms, right? So I definitely think it's positive. I definitely don't think that short people have monkey arms and tall people have uh, T-Rex arms, the like it was suggesting earlier. So we'll go with moderate positive. We'll see what we get. All right. Using StatCrunch, conduct a simple linear regression on our data set, gathering both the output and the scatter diagram with the linear regression equation drawn. So there's two parts here. We need to get the box with all the numbers, so like the R squared and the correlation coefficient, all of that is in the top box, and then the graph of the line is the second box. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. So let's come back over here. And again, if you didn't remove that outlier or adjust that outlier, that's fine. You're going to get a different line than I am. Okay, but that's okay. We're going to go to stat, regression, simple linear. And our x variable is our forearm length. Our y variable is our height. And we'll hit compute. And the first thing I need is I need this box. So I'll copy this. Okay. I believe if you just do options copy, oh no. So I believe if you just, you could also just click and drag like this and that'll work too. You don't necessarily have to get a screenshot of it. Let's see what it looks like if I paste the actual info. Yeah, so this looks fine. Okay. And then paste the graph. So let's go back to StatCrunch. There's a arrow in the lower right-hand corner of your results, right? So if you click on that, that will show you the dots with the line drawn through the middle of it, okay? And if you did fix that outlier, you should have a line that's going up. You should have a positive slope. If you didn't, you're going to have a negative slope, which I'm not going to mark you off for, but it's not accurate, right? A line going down would indicate that taller people have shorter arms. So, okay, I'm going to copy this into the second box for part 3. There we go. All right. State the value of the linear correlation coefficient for these data. So mine was 0.21. Oh goodness, that's still small. 0.211. 0.211. Okay. Does the value from number 4 support or contradict the strength and direction of the data from number 2? So number 2, we said it was moderate positive, And 0.211, where does that land on our number line? I think that's no linear relationship. Yeah, it is. So it's not even weak. Weak was going to be my guess, but okay. So uh no, or sorry, it contradicts my prediction. It's actually no linear relationship. All right, interesting. So that's to me is indicating that there might still be some outliers here that I would need to address. Like I mentioned, this one over here, and maybe this one here. But also like maybe those are legitimate, and so like my wife always makes fun of me that I have monkey arms when I was getting fitted for my tuxedo for my wedding. Like they didn't have one that fit me because like they had one that fit my body, but like my arms were sticking out. So, but it's okay. She has T-Rex arms, so um
So your kids are perfect.
no, my kids take after one or the other of us. So my son has T-Rex arms, but my anyway, my daughter has longer arms. So anyway, look, maybe they'll grow out of it. State the value of the coefficient of determination for these data. That's the R squared. My R squared was 0.044. Interpret the value from number 6 using the context of the situation. So that we can find on page 255 at the bottom. There's a script for coefficient of determination. We write it at the R squared as a percent, and then we write out of the total variation in the Y value as explained by the least squares regression line. All right, so uh, this as a percent. What is this as a percent? Can someone tell me what this is as a percent? Yeah, there we go. 4.4%. Okay, we say 4.4% of the total variation in the Y value. Now, what's the Y? So in this case, my Y, I'm not going to write what is the height to the nearest centimeter, blah, blah, blah. I should just write that the Y is the height. Yes? Total variation in height is explained by the least squares regression. Okay. All right. State the equation of the least squares regression line. All right. So paste from StatCrunch output. So my equation is this. Now there's a problem because uh I didn't my titles are super long, right? So it's hidden somewhere in this mess. So this right here is y equals. So it'll be a lot easier if I change this to just say forearm length and height. And I'll just rerun this. Stat, regression, simple linear. Yeah, this is going to make it easier to read if I change my titles. There it is. Y equals 145 plus 0.79x. Okay. I mean, could you see that in there? It was, where was it? It was here. Yeah, it was there. But not only is it important for the person that you're giving this report to be able to read it and understand it, you also have to be able to read it and understand it. So it's this one. So we'll copy that here. Now, you don't have to copy. You could write y equals 145 point, what do we want? 3 decimals? I don't know. 799 plus 0.798 form length, or sorry, x. Okay. Um, but I'm just going to be lazy and copy and paste it. And again, if you did not adjust the data, if you didn't remove that outlier or uh, change that outlier, then you're going to get a different equation than me, and that's fine. Okay. So I'll pause here and see if anyone has any questions because we've not only been analyzing the data and finding our line and our correlations and coefficients and stuff like that, but also we've been cleaning the data as well. So go ahead. You have a question?
As per usual, it would be nice to have your name in the file name somewhere, either at the end or at the beginning. Put it someplace.
Sorry, did you have a question? Oh, that's okay. All right. Any questions so far? I want to make sure that people are not lost on what we've been doing. Yeah, because working with real world data is harder than working with, simulated data from class. Okay, let's keep going. State the value of the slope. So my slope in this case is 0.798. That's this one, right? Interpret the value of the slope of the regression line in the context of the situation, include units. So there's a script for that on page 255. It goes like this. It goes if, and then you write out what x is, for arm length increases by 1 unit. So the unit on x, we were supposed to be measuring these in centimeters, right? Then y, which in this case is height, is expected to increase by approximately, and then you write out what the slope is, 0.798 centimeters. Okay. State the y-intercept. The y-intercept in this case is 0, 145.799. Okay, at least that's what I have. Explain why the y-intercept does not make sense in the context of the situation. So impossible for, so usually it's because x can't be 0. What was x again? What was our explanatory variable here? Yeah, Montez says it's our forearm. So impossible for a person to have a forearm of 0 centimeters. I mean, I guess that's not impossible. You could have a person where their hand is attached to their elbow, but that'd be a weird form of dwarfism, right? So what value did you give as your forearm length? Now, Obviously, everyone's going to have a different answer here. Okay. So uh, I'll just say that mine is 26. Okay. I don't know. Uh, but names are still in here, so you should be able to come in here, find your name, right? Use the regression equation to find your predicted height based on your forearm length. Show your work, include units. Okay, so we have y equals, uh, what was it again? 0.799 x, which in my case is 26, plus 145 point. Oh wait, nope, it wasn't 799. It was, these are throwing me off. This is 798 and this is 799. Oh my goodness. Okay. Right. My slope is 0.798. My y-intercept is 145.799. That's annoying. Okay, so let's put that in decimals. Let's see what I get. Now yours is obviously not 26. Yours is probably a different forearm length. I guess I should have used a longer one because I said my my arms are monkey arms, so I should have done like, I don't know, 30. Sure. I'll put in 30. I don't know. I don't have a tape measure at my desk, so yeah, 30. We do have a 30 in here, so okay, so I'm not outrageous. Okay, so 169.739. That's mine anyway. 169. Okay. So that's my predicted height. Am I actually that tall? No, I'm not. Calculate your residual. So your residual equals, so mine will be 165. That's my actual minus 169.739. And that equals, mine's negative 4.739 centimeters. Okay. So residual is at the bottom of page 255, right? It's your actual height. So you'll find that in StatCrunch minus your predicted height. And the prediction is the number you got in the previous question, question number 14. That's your predicted height based on what the line says. Okay. Now we can see that, where's my line? I lost it. Yeah, so we can see that there's some people above the line, okay? Their residuals will be positive. There's going to be some people below the line. Their residuals will be negative, okay? So make sure if it's negative, you write the negative, okay? Were you shorter or taller than predicted? I was shorter because my residual is negative. Or you would say taller than predicted because my residual is positive. Easy enough, right? All right. Use the regression line, the regression equation to predict the arm length of Andre the Giant, who was 223 centimeters tall, 7 feet 4 inches. So if you don't remember, if you haven't heard of Andre the Giant, you need to go watch Princess Bride. He was a wrestler as well, but that's what I remember him from.
Great movie.
Right. Yeah. There's a link, I guess, take you there. So, show your work, give 3 decimal places, include units. Okay, um, so in this case, all right, so I have y equals 0.798 times x plus 145.799, right? This is not a x value, it's a y value. So I'm going to put that in right here, 223.5, okay? All right, so to solve for x in this case, I need to subtract 145 from both sides, okay? So I'm going to do 223.5 minus 145.799. Did I get those numbers right? I did. Okay. All right. So I get 77.701. And your numbers will be the same here because, oh no, I guess not, because you have a different slope and y-intercept than mine. So, all right, that's fine. 77.701 equals 0.798 x. Okay, so next we need to divide both sides by 0.798. So 7.701 divided by 0.798, and I get 97.37. That's his x, his forearm length, okay? Or at least that's what our prediction says. Explain why number 17 is outside the scope of our model. And we can say 97.37 centimeters is much higher than any of the data or arm data we measure. Okay. So our linear regression is not a good prediction when you are looking at data outside the scope. In other words, if I'm looking at someone who has a forearm that's smaller than 20 or larger than, what is this, 30.48, I'm looking at someone who's got a forearm that's 97 centimeters, I should not be using this linear regression, okay? Or a height, same thing. So earlier we said, maybe Kelly's height was actually correct. In that case, she's an outlier and we wouldn't be able to use the linear regression then. So for her, for predicting her height or her forearm. Okay, so I think that's it. Okay, so we're gonna share and make sure we change our restricted access to anyone with the link. Copy that link. And then let's go over here to Canvas and we'll submit our project. Hit paste. And with submit assignment, get our confetti. I got panda bears and we're good. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll jump to page 424 and we'll start working on our sample midterm. Okay.